You know, as we take a look at the banking environment today, it has significantly changed over the last 3 or 4 years, as all of you are aware. And one of the things we're finding, especially within the banks who have built a very strong brand in the marketplace, is that that brand needs to shift. To give you an example, in many of the banks that we spend time following, as the examiners have left, they have said to people, you need to do less investor real estate, you need to do less construction lending, you need to diversify into, for example, operating companies, and typically they talk about C&I. Well, here's the issue. Many of us have team members who have built a brand that is not really related to C&I or to operating companies. So let me talk to you a little bit about personal brand versus corporate brand and how that fits together and can affect you as a team leader, as a sales leader within your organization. So here's the first question. What do we mean by brand? Here's what we mean by brand. If I'm a banker and I've been in my market for 3, 4, 5, 10 years, I have built a following, so to speak, that attracts business to me. I could be known, for example, as someone who has a following in medical practices. Let me give you a real quick example here. We know someone, and who I'm going to change their name right now, whose name is Jane. She has a following in a state of medical practices that is absolutely astronomical. Every doctor in town knows her name. Every large group medical practice business manager knows who she is. She belongs to MGMA. She belongs to all the right things. And you know what? She attracts to her. When the phone rings, who's on the phone but a business manager or a founding partner of a medical practice? Somebody's on the phone who is inquiring about helping her with their practice. She attracts to her the result of all that time she spent in the market, which we call a brand. All right? Now, her bank still loves that brand. Well, let's take another example here. What if all of a sudden conditions have changed and that brand's not quite so attractive? Here, for example, is Joe. Joe has a huge following in investor real estate. So all of a sudden, he's running around and he's built this brand over 10 years, and every investor in real estate knows his name, knows he gets their business, and in the end does an amazing job of working with them. Unfortunately, when the regulators left Joe's bank, they said, we need to diversify this book of business, and now what we need to have is less investor real estate. Well, Joe, meanwhile, has this incredible attraction coming at him. Every time the phone rings, it's somebody who wants to, well, do some sort of developmental work. So in the end, we end up in a situation where Joe is constantly coming to you and saying, how do we get this done? Why can't we do this? Why can't we price this the same way we did 5 years ago? That's what the customer expects. That's what we've always done for these people. And all of a sudden, this brand, which is not as attractive today as it was 5 years ago, becomes a hindrance to Joe and to those clients out there. In other words, Joe's brand is less attractive. So, what do we do here? Well, with Jane, there's no problem. Just keep doing it, Jane. It's working out great. With Joe, we've got an issue. How do we change Joe's brand? And can that even happen? So here's the question we would raise to you guys as team leaders. Do you know the brand of each one of your people? Or if you're a commercial banker listening to this, what is your personal brand? What is it that is on the other end of the phone when the phone rings, and that begins to tell you more and more and more about your brand? In a changing economy, we sometimes have to change our brands. Or as a leader, you have to change the brand of the people on your team. So what does that really do? Is that even possible? The answer is it's absolutely possible, but I think you'll find in most cases they can't do it by themselves. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find some sort of parallel brand, closely related brand, something that is not that far away from what they've built, where they don't have to throw away all those people they know in the community, but in the end they can begin to say, let's shift to the left, shift to the right. Let's go slightly up, slightly down, and refocus the brand in a way that's going to be attractive to us going forward. We're in the process, folks, in this economy of rebuilding our brand for the next 5 to 10 years. I hope you're taking this seriously. And step number 1, you should take the time and try to understand what each team member's brand is. Step number 2, you need to find out how well is that brand going to fit into where you want to go over the next 5 to 10 years. Step number 3, if like Joe you need to adjust that brand, we need to start working on it in a dedicated but firm way where we begin to help him to align himself with parallel or over-under brands that are going to be more attractive and help him make the process now, build the process, so to speak, of getting out of the old brand and into the new brand. It can be done, but it's going to take some work and some effort. This is a time to rebuild your brand.